So it's almost Tom Brier's birthday, and mine actually, 'cause Tom is a little over a year younger than I am. So I thought I'd talk about some of his legacy. It's not an update on his condition. If you want that, the latest that I have is in the virtual Tom Brier concert video that I posted in 2023. But there, I saw like a video that describes Tom as forgotten. I want to make sure that you know that it's definitely not the case. Tom was well known even before anybody posted videos of him on YouTube, in ragtime circles anyway. So I'll talk a bit about that. And maybe I'll go into like how I met him as well. It's kind of cool. But just so you know that 2 years ago he was the recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Scott Joplin International Ragtime Foundation. I'll post a link to the award ceremony, as it were, so you can watch that. He wasn't there to accept it, of course, but it was accepted on his behalf by Warren Jennings. And last month, not only was there a Tom Brier tribute concert at the historic Sutter Creek Ragtime Festival, but there was the first of what's expected to be an annual ragtime competition, youth ragtime competition. Tom always supported young people in ragtime. And it's not just in his name, the Tom Brier Youth Ragtime Competition. It actually has elements that reflect to Tom. The competitors had to play one piece by Tom, and then they could play any ragtime piece of their choosing after that. And then they were handed an obscure, unrecorded piece of ragtime music to sight read. So sight reading is an element of the Tom Brier Youth Ragtime Competition. Isaiah Burton won the $2,500 prize for the first one last year. So that's cool. It's hoped to be an annual event in Tom's honor. So any of you young ragtimers out there, people getting into ragtime, learning to play ragtime because of Tom, it's a perfect opportunity to compete in Tom's honor, in his legacy. So yeah, Tom's definitely not forgotten. The Tom Brier Tribute Concert was pretty cool. I missed the first part of it, but I saw a video of it, at least from a Twitch live stream. Hopefully it'll get posted separately, but Carl Sonny Leyland did a boogie-woogie rendition of Peril and Pantomime. That was pretty awesome. He had said, and I wasn't there to hear this, but I heard on the video, that he had mentioned to Tom years ago that maybe he should learn Peril and Pantomime, and Tom had said to him, well, I'm sure you'll boogie the heck out of it. And so Sonny definitely did in the concert. That was cool. And Julia Riley, the flute player that you see in many of those videos with Tom, she gave little stories of Tom, but between the pieces of each new artist came up to play a piece of Tom's. As for how I met Tom, let's go back in history. I think I've talked about this in comments, but never done it on a video, so why not? I met him around 1990, 91. There was a very short-lived ragtime festival that was in Watsonville, California, which is not far from where I lived. I lived in Santa Cruz County, in the same county. And I didn't know people were into ragtime other than me. It's like, oh, there are other people into this music. And I had been writing a few rags myself, and I'd had them printed out on a near letter quality dot matrix printer, and some white out and handwriting to do things that the music program couldn't do. It was a deluxe music construction set on the Commodore Amiga. Wasn't very a good program. Couldn't do a lot of things I wanted to do, so I had to handwrite bits over it. And I initially showed it to Scott Kirby, and he said, "Well, you should show it to Tom Brier. Tom Brier likes to see new ragtime pieces." And so I did. And the following year, Tom said, "Come to my set," and at a certain time, and I went to the set and he played two of my pieces. And then at a later set, Scott Kirby requested to hear one of his other pieces again, which was very amazing. And then there was an elderly woman came up and said, you wrote that piece? And I thought, yeah. Can I give you a tip? And I thought she meant advice, and she actually handed me a $20 bill. And then Tom was like, blown away. You've got a bona fide hit on your hands. That was my conversation pieces. But I had obviously noticed that Tom played a lot of obscure ragtime. He's always playing things I'd never heard of. Like, wow. And I had picked up an old piece of music from the public library in Santa Cruz. They were like selling off lots of old antique sheet music, and there's one that was basically an advertisement for Ellington pianos, and inside of it was a ragtime piece of music. We got the Ellington Intermezzo. I had a little stamp on it from the music store in Santa Cruz that was giving it away. So I gave it to Tom and said, do you know anything? Because Tom obviously not only did he play so many obscure pieces, but he knew about the composers and and the publishers. So I was kind of saying, so I asked him, you know anything about this piece? And he said, no, I haven't seen this one before. He puts it on the piano and he played it perfectly with embellishments. I had already made like a MIDI, like a music file on the Commodore 64, or not the Commodore 64, the Commodore Amiga of that piece, so I knew how it went. But he played it, perfectly with embellishment. I was like, I thought you didn't know the piece. And he said, no, I didn't. I'm just reading it. I was on the site reading it. I thought, he said, yeah. He said, I couldn't possibly memorize all the stuff that I play, all these obscure pieces. I don't memorize it. I'm just put them on the piano and I play them. That's what he did in his sets a lot of the time. And I was like, blown away. That's when I first realized that, Tom's quite a good sight reader for ragtime. It's just amazing. So that's why, years ago, in the early days of YouTube, 2006 or whatever, I thought to give him ragtime music from games, because I'd seen on YouTube people playing like Mario themes, but playing them straight, the way they sounded in the video game, just three voices, just really simple. And I'm thinking, this music is ragtime. It needs to be played correctly. I was like, well, Tom's a guy who could do it. And he's always good. He would always be a good sport. He loved to see a new piece of music. They'd never seen before now. So I did those videos for two reasons. One, so people who know the game music could hear how the music should be played in a way. What you can do with music, you can arrange it. And two, introduce people who are into ragtime into these tunes, because these are cool tunes. It's like, ragtime is still being written, or was, I guess, still isn't a bit, but obviously modern game soundtracks are big orchestral things. So. But those simple things, with three voice synthesizers, it really suited playing like a ragtime kind of music. So that's why I just started doing that. It wasn't any, it wasn't. In a way, I was trying to promote Tom. See, Tom is the most humble person you can imagine. He would never promote himself. He had a YouTube channel. He has, or you could say has, but obviously he can't use it. He never posted anything to it. But if you want to subscribe to him, just for the symbolic reasons, it's Brier 42. Tom was a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan. Two of us being of the same age, kind of had a lot of the same interests. We used to share a room at it's Skunk Hollow. Skunk Hollow. That's where a lot of the ragtime party videos are posted. And late at night, I just start reciting songs that we remember from Dr. Demento, the Dr. Demento show, and stuff like that. So, we'd always joke around. It'd be him, me, and Eric Marchese. One time we're hanging around a table, just coming up with goofy ragtime titles and ideas and things like this. And one time Eric said that he thought maybe there'd be something to so white bread. It's not even doesn't even sound, you know, you know, African at all. Like ragtime, authentic ragtime is, you know, from African Americans in the South, you know, and so I uttered redneck rag, and to much laughter, Tom was like, yeah. But a year or so later, this mysterious piece by Brian March started coming around called Redneck Rag. So yeah, I came up with the title of that. But yeah, we used to do stuff like that, just hang around all the time, you know, late at night. The after-hours sessions at Ragtime festivals, you know, would go on in the wee hours. One year it went until dawn the next day, the afterglow party, and I had to work that day here in, I think I was living in Nevada at that point already, and he was like, yeah, this is why you take Mondays off after the festival. So, yeah. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to mention that Tom is not forgotten by any means. He's still very well known and well regarded in the ragtime circles, and continues to inspire people. As long as I keep getting subscribers, I got this 100,000 subscriber plaque. I've never made a cent off of anything on this channel. It's completely just posting stuff that I enjoy and that I want to share, and trying to promote people like Tom, Martin Spitznagel, and, you know, Will Perkins, and Frederick Hodges, and all these people, these amazing pianists that I know, and, you know, everybody else, you know, that you see on the channel. But I have not seen Tom since 2019. If you've seen the Dill Pickles video, where Tom's seated next to, sadly, the late Chris Bradshaw, when she and her husband Jack are playing Dill Pickles and two pianos, and Tom's adding some notes on there. But yeah, from what I gather, there isn't really any change, and there isn't expected to be any change. He remains mostly nonverbal. You know, can't open his right hand. Can tool around a bit and enjoys that with his left hand. He does not have short-term memory. He'll forget things right away. But then, months later, he will remember things. He will remember them. That's kind of bizarre, but brain damage is a weird thing. So anyway, just thought I'd talk about that. So there you go. Little discussion about just talking about Tom on his birthday. He will be 54 on October 3rd, and this Sunday I will be 55. Oh my God, I'm old, man. Get off my lawn, you kids.